I'm Siddharth Lal and I'm Chief Executive Officer of Eicher Motors Limited. Eicher Motors Limited is most famous for its Royal Enfield brand of motorcycles, which you see rolling out here. It's the oldest motorcycle company in the world and in continuous production, and we're at the moment entirely reinventing the company. Royal Enfield is one of the famous British motorcycling brands. It started in 1901 and it's amongst all the great British motorcycle brands in the 40s, 50s, 60s, which just exploded post-war. In the 70s, what happened in British motorcycling was that the Japanese came in. And once the Japanese came in, it was really the death knell for British motorcycling. So all the big famous brands, they started to dwindle, and most, if not all, actually died at that time. But then what happened was, as a quirk of fate, in 1955 in India, there was a great demand for these very sturdy bullet motorcycles which were made by Royal Enfield, and there was a demand from the Indian Army. So because Royal Enfield in Britain didn't even have the capacity to make them, they transferred that to India, and there was a small company set up in India to actually produce those motorcycles. So that's the start of the Indian origin of Royal Enfield. Over time, the Bullet became an iconic motorcycle in India, and not just for the armed forces, but for the general public. It was the big bike, it was the evocative bike, it was the one that people rode when they really wanted to enjoy themselves and all of that. But again, with the Japanese coming into India, pretty much the same story ensued. Royal Enfield, because of the Japanese invasion, was at a point very close to dying in the late 80s, early 90s. So that's when Eicher actually came in, and moving away from what was originally more a utility motorcycle to something which was a much more evocative, brand-led, beautiful motorcycling experience. And then, of course, it was about new bikes, about new models. So we started off even reinventing the Bullet. So the same old Bullet, which was going on for 50 years, it was just one single black Bullet. We got colored variations of it. We got some new technology into it, like electronic ignition, etc., etc. Beyond that, we actually started new models. But the way we've created the brand is that it actually transcends all socio-economic strata and demographics and all of that, because it's really a person who wants a motorcycle. So we don't call it as a luxury brand ever, because that's not what we are. We're really a fun brand, I would say. India has outstanding terrain, and people need an outing really, and what this bike provides them is the ability to travel distances, to go to the Himalayas, to go to the desert, and to go for weekends. So it is the definitive bike to travel in India on. It is the definite bike for Indians to travel around the country and to go for their long journeys and really to experience motorcycle in its purest form.